That morning, there was a different atmosphere in the White House corridors. Security guards were more alert than usual. Staff spoke in whispers. Because today, one of the most tense confrontations in American history was about to unfold. Donald Trump sat in the Oval Office, staring out the window, clenching his hands. He still couldn't forget that moment years ago when Barack Obama had mocked him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That night, Obama's jokes had changed the expression on Trump's face. Now the roles were reversed. Trump was president, and it was time for payback. When the door opened, Barack Obama walked in. With that familiar calm stride, the same confident posture, the same half-smile, as if nothing had changed. Trump stood up, they shook hands, but the electricity in the air affected everyone. This wasn't just a courtesy visit between two former presidents. This was about ego and pride. "Barack, welcome," said Trump, with a tension in his voice he tried to hide. Obama nodded slightly. "Thank you, Donald. The office looks great." The first minutes passed with protocol conversations, but Trump was getting impatient. He had prepared for this moment he'd been waiting for years. He would corner Obama, humiliate him in his own office. Trump leaned back and put on that familiar grin. "Barack, you were always famous for your speeches. I'm more of an action man." This was the first attack. Indirect but sharp. He was implying that Obama was just a talker, lacking in execution. Obama looked at him. Silently, patiently. Then with a slight shrug, he gave this answer. "Maybe, but words can build bridges or burn them. Which bridges you choose to build matters." This response affected everyone in the room. He hadn't just deflected Trump's attack, he had turned it into a mirror. As if asking Trump, "Which bridges are you burning?" Trump was uncomfortable but wouldn't give up. It was time to play his bigger card. "Barack, you know there are still people talking about that birth certificate issue." Everyone in the room tensed. Trump had touched Obama's most sensitive point. He was bringing up the conspiracy theories and doubts that had lasted for years. Obama's face showed no change. He remained calm, controlled. He opened the file he had brought with him and pulled out a folded paper. He placed the birth certificate on the table, said in a calm voice, "Signed, sealed, verified. You can read it again if you like." Trump looked at the paper for a few seconds, then with a forced smile said, "I guess that settles it." Obama's response was clear. "There's no 'I guess,' Donald." There never was. Silence fell. The ticking of the wall clock became more pronounced. Trump was starting to lose control. He couldn't see the anger, the defensive state he expected from Obama. Instead, there was unshakable calm. Trump picked up a pen, tapping it on the table. "Some presidents spent a lot of time talking. I prefer to get things done." Obama smiled slightly. "Doing things is easy," he said in a low but clear voice. "Doing the right things, that's the hard part." These words struck like lightning. Trump's pen fell to the table. For a few seconds, no one moved. Trump leaned forward, trying to regain control. "You were always good with words, Barack." Obama also leaned forward. A small but perfectly timed movement. "Donald," he said in a low, measured tone. "You and Ivanka have a son, right?" This question cut through the silence like a blade. Everyone in the room looked up at once. Even the advisors standing by the wall looked on in confusion. Trump froze. For the first time, his confident expression flickered. "What's that supposed to mean?" he asked sharply. Obama didn't rush to answer. He let the silence work for him. Then he said slowly, "It means before you question my background, maybe think about what kind of example you're setting for yours." Trump recoiled, caught off guard. He wasn't prepared to talk about family. He had plans for political documents and attacks, but this personal blow had thrown him off balance. With a forced smile, he said, "Barack, we didn't come here to talk about families. Let's stay professional." Obama's face showed no smile. "Professional? That's interesting because professionalism starts with respect, something you keep forgetting." The words hung in the air. Obama's tone was calm, but there was weight behind it. A quiet authority that didn't need volume. Trump leaned back, trying to recover his rhythm. "You're twisting this around," he snapped. Obama shook his head. "No, I'm just reminding you that leadership isn't about insults and conspiracies. It's about truth." Trump's eyes narrowed. "Are you threatening me now?" Obama met his gaze. "Not with anger, but with quiet certainty. I'm giving you a choice." Then for the first time he leaned back with a hint of a smile. "Remember, Donald, You're not the only one who keeps records. I have documents too. If I ever need to prove a point, I won't need rumors or noise. I'll use facts, and they'll speak louder than any tweet or headline. The last word landed heavy. Trump's jaw tightened. He didn't like being warned, especially not like this. Every time Trump tried to twist the moment, Obama brought it back to calm truth. Every insult bounced off him like rain on glass. It was clear now Trump had wanted a fight. Obama had given him something worse, a mirror. And what Trump saw in that mirror wasn't strength. It was insecurity, pride, and fear that someone else could steal the spotlight with nothing more than composure. Silence lingered again, stretching into seconds that felt like minutes. Finally, Trump looked away, pretending to glance at a stack of folders on his desk. He mumbled something about getting back to real business, but his voice had lost its fire. Obama nodded politely. "Sure," he said. "Let's talk about real business. The kind that helps the country, not egos." Trump didn't respond. He only straightened his papers, eyes fixed anywhere but on the man sitting across from him. And in that moment, the power in the room shifted completely. Obama didn't have to win with numbers or arguments or titles. He had won by staying calm while the other man fell apart. That was the real counterattack. Not shouting, not threats, just quiet control. The kind that makes everyone else realize who's truly in charge. Obama leaned forward again, his tone never rising. "Donald, when you lead with anger, you lose control. When you lead with truth, you never have to raise your voice." Trump's hand reaching for his glass of water trembled slightly. He took a sip, trying to hide it. Obama continued, "Remember, I have documents too. If I ever need to prove a point, I won't need rumors or noise. I'll use facts and they'll speak louder than any tweet." The silence that fell in the Oval Office was almost painful. No one dared to move. Trump set his glass down with a sharp click. "Don't lecture me, Barack." "I'm not," Obama said. "I'm reminding you." Then for the first time, he leaned back with a hint of a smile. "Donald, real power isn't about proving you're right. It's about knowing when to stop proving anything at all." The quiet that followed was different from the others. Heavy, difficult. Even the ticking clock seemed louder. Trump looked at the folders on his desk, then back at Obama. This time his eyes were less fiery, more uncertain. "Well," he said, "let's talk about real issues." Obama nodded politely. "Great idea. Let's talk about the nation's future." And right then, everyone in that room understood one thing. This wasn't just a meeting anymore. This was a chess match between two very different kinds of strength. And Obama had achieved checkmate without moving a single piece. Years from now, people will still talk about the moment Barack Obama faced Donald Trump in his own office and left him speechless. The air inside the White House that morning felt different, heavier, charged. Security guards stood taller. Staff whispered quietly in the corners. Because that morning, one of America's most tense confrontations had taken place. This wasn't just a courtesy meeting between two former presidents. This was about ego and pride. It was time for a reckoning. Trump was prepared. He had plans. He would corner Obama, humiliate him in his own house. But Obama did something worse to him. He held up a mirror. And what Trump saw in that mirror wasn't strength. It was insecurity, pride, and fear of someone else stealing his light with calm composure. Obama's victory wasn't loud. It was silent, the most powerful kind. Because real leadership isn't about shouting. It's about never having to shout. And that moment in the Oval Office showed the world how it's done. When you lead with anger, you lose control. When you lead with truth, you never have to raise your voice. And when you master the art of calm strength, you can silence an entire room with just one sentence. That's the secret strategy Barack Obama used against Donald Trump. Not aggression, not volume, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are and never needing to prove it to anyone.